Once a druggie, always a druggie. Once an alcoholic, always an alcoholic. Once broke, always broke. Once not a believer in God, always not a believer in God. Once a cheater, always a cheater. Why do they say that? Only about cheaters. Well, for one, that is a betrayed person's way of protecting themselves because they do not want to trust another cheater. So they say, once a cheater, always a cheater. Never trust a cheater again. Never get hurt again. But also, that is because a lot of cheaters do not change because they cannot change. Why? Well, that is what this episode is about. Why cheaters do not change. If you are new, I am Coach Michael. I am an infidelity recovery specialist, and a big reason why I do what I do and I have so much insight about cheating is I was the cheated, as well as I was a serial cheater for over a decade. And I did my work to discover my core issues of cheating and fix them, and I still do the work. And I am excited to share with you my discoveries and insight to help you on your journey of infidelity recovery. Let's get right into it. Now, the reason why many cheaters don't change is because they rely on the wrong things to change. They rely on the condition of their marriage or relationship, or they rely on willpower. They rely on trying not to cheat based on the way that their partner treats them. Okay? And so if a cheater is actually going to change, well, it's going to take more than just relying on how my partner treats me and willpower to not cheat whenever things get hopeless. Whenever we get to that place of hopelessness, because what a cheater does is goes, okay, I'm never going to cheat again. But what happens when they get to that place where the reasons why they cheated was, for example, they did it for attention and their spouse isn't giving them that attention that they desire, and they begin to feel that sadness and they feel that loneliness, and perhaps they try something different to go about it a different way so they do not cheat, but nothing changes. And then we go, well, you see, it seems like no matter what I do, it's never enough. That story returns. That story of, well, what's the point? Everything's all good and dandy. And when I try, yeah, there's the struggles. But what happens when I keep on trying and there's still struggles and it's beginning to seem like no matter what I do, nothing changes. So we get to that point where, what's the point? We tell ourselves that story. And here's the thing, that story returns in our moments of vulnerability when we are feeling sad, angry, scared, alone, whatever it is. And so that story comes in and we begin doing in accordance to that story. We suddenly have a reason to cheat and we go back to it. Time and again. You see, it is the identity of the person, of the cheater, of the unfaithful who continues to go back time and again. So, for example, a part of their identity might be, well, yeah, I try, but I can only do so much. And, well, when I get to do so much and nothing else can be done, well, yeah, I guess, well, what's the point anyway? Yeah, I just give up. And so if we have the identity as to where we give up and we can only take so much, and then we try and try, but then when there's that case, well, what my identity says, not what I want, but what my identity says is that it's okay to cheat. I just have to convince myself enough in order to. And so it is the identity. Identity is the root of if a cheater is going to change. Now, where the identity exists, where it subsides is in the subconscious. Your subconscious mind is responsible for 90% of your actions. Who you believe you are, what you think you deserve, what you believe is supposed to happen in your life, how you interpret conflict, how you interpret your relationship, how you interpret your life. Okay. So in order to change, if a cheater is going to change, they must fully understand and be aware of their identity in order to begin choosing something different. Because we cannot choose an option that we are not aware of. And right now we have convinced ourselves that there is no other option, that or just to leave, right? And so it is in our subconscious mind where we have these automatic thoughts, automatic feelings, automatic interpretations that continue to lead us down that path. And it's automatic. Your subconscious mind has been programmed since you were little. Your subconscious mind has collected certain situations, data, and information, and has given you an identity, has given you coping mechanisms, defense mechanisms, ways that you handle situations. And so over time, that subconscious mind now goes on automatic and gives you those suggested thoughts, feelings, actions, everything on automatic. You see, 90% of what we do is in our subconscious. Now, what does that mean? That means that while we're doing things like putting our clothes on, while we're doing our things like putting on our seat belts, while we're getting our car started, we don't think about those things. We just do those things. And so that's what happens is we continue to automatically think, feel, interpret those same ways that lead us to wanting to choose to cheat. Okay? And so if we are going to get into our identifying ourselves, this is why I created the 9 stages of infidelity, where you discover your cause, which the very first event that happens or events that happen, that is the beginning of the 9 stages of infidelity, of how a cheater discovers their core issues of cheating and begins fixing them. So there are events that continue to happen that lead to an emotional reaction that then continues to lead to an interpretation, then continues to lead to a desire, then continues to lead to an action, then continues to lead to a justification. You see, and so when we understand ourselves and when we understand our thoughts, our beliefs, our patterns, that is when we can begin changing them. But how do we change? How do we reprogram our subconscious minds? That is in 2 ways. Big, impactful moments. Moments of great significance, of great emotional impact. Big, powerful moments. Just like big, powerful moments create those everlasting effects like trauma that leaves those imprints for a long time. So it is creating powerful events to then create new beliefs of who you believe you are, what you believe you're capable of, as well as small events done consistently over time of perhaps smaller emotional impact. So big events with big emotional impact and small events with smaller emotional impact done consistently over time, because you are a product of behavior, of pattern, of repetition. That's what us as human beings are. We are programmed. So think of yourself as a program that has been programmed since you were born. And so now if you are going to change, you must examine your program and reprogram your program to have new core beliefs. You must install new beliefs into your program. For example, a new belief that you begin to install, which I highly suggest, which is something that we adopt into our identity in my coaching programs or in my personal coaching or group coaching programs. I am now a loyal and honest, trustworthy partner, spouse, however you want to put it, who speaks the truth even when it's uncomfortable. I am now a loyal, honest, trustworthy partner, spouse, whatever you want to call it, man, woman, husband, wife, who speaks the truth even when it's uncomfortable. Write it. Repeat it. Look at yourself in the mirror and own it. Saying that right now may be like, well, I cheated and I'm lying and I've done that, and right, that doesn't make sense to me right now, right? And because that is your programmed belief, that is your identity. But if your identity is going to change, you must tell it. You must command it. Again and again and again. You can't just wake up one day and say, this is who I am and that is how it's going to be. And this is what I will think and feel. And anytime this happens, this is how I'm going to interpret. Can't just do it once. It takes repetition. It takes power. It takes emotion. It takes will. Okay. And so after a while, your subconscious mind begins adopting that identity. And there are certain ways to reprogram your subconscious mind. Being in a state of theta consciousness, being open to being reprogrammed subconsciously, there are certain states of consciousness, certain states of mind where you can influence these new beliefs in how you do it. Then there are many ways that you do it. It takes repetition, reading, writing, repeating, listening to audios, many different ways of going about this. And yes, this is something that I work through with my clients when we are working together in learning how to truly change, how to ensure our spouse we are never going to cheat again. Because again, remember, that is the best way to rebuild the trust, to best ensure that what broke it the first time does not break it again. And that is what gives your spouse the reassurance, is that you've done the work, is that you do the work, and you continue to do the work because it is important to you to make sure that your spouse does not cheat again, or you do not cheat again on your spouse. Because I will not cheat again on you is not enough. Remember, the true rebuilding of the trust is when you go within and you examine what led you to make those choices and begin healing, reversing, recovering, fixing, changing, truly changing, and focusing on that is what's ultimately going to give your betrayed spouse the most reassurance. So for more information of my coaching services and programs, because if you want to learn exactly how to adopt this with the videos and the programs and the coaching that I have online, or you want to work with me, I'm going to list all of the information down low so you can further your journey. Because here's the thing, when you break the commitment, you want to show the most recommitment possible by doing the absolute most. The last thing you want to be caught in is I'm doing the bare minimum. You want to do the maximum. So if you want to do the maximum, or you want to do more, or know exactly what to do and how to do it, or you want to work with me and get that guidance, that support of exactly what to do and how to do it, then the information is below. That's all for today. Happy recovery, happy healing. Much love, peace, and prosperity to you. I'll see you in the next one.